Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in every person's life when they must stop looking outside for answers and turn inward. The world will always tempt you with noise, with distractions, with the illusion that fulfillment lies in possessions, recognition, or control. But the deepest wisdom does not live out there. It lives within you. The first step to transformation is to confront yourself honestly, not the polished version you show to others, but the self that hides in the shadows, the fears, the doubts, the unspoken desires. Many run from this shadow, but in truth, it holds the key to your wholeness. What you refuse to face will quietly control you. What you dare to face will set you free. Every soul carries within it a greater design, a quiet pull toward meaning. You may call it destiny, you may call it purpose, but it is not handed to you ready-made. It is discovered when you learn to listen to the whispers of your inner world. Pay attention to your dreams, to the symbols that arise, to the moments that stir your heart. They are guiding you toward the person you were always meant to become. True wisdom is not about knowing everything, it is about becoming whole. It is about embracing your strengths as well as your flaws, your light as well as your darkness. Only when you accept all that you are, can you move beyond the battle within and step into the harmony of your true self. Life will challenge you, break you open, and expose the parts you would rather keep hidden. Do not resist this. The cracks are where the light enters. Transformation is not found in avoiding suffering, but in allowing it to teach you, to shape you, to awaken you. The wisdom that transforms your life is simple yet powerful. Know yourself, accept yourself, and grow beyond yourself. When you dare to walk this path of self-discovery, you will not only change your own life, you will inspire others to awaken to theirs. So I ask you today, will you continue to wear the mask, or will you step into the courage of being fully yourself? For the moment you choose authenticity over illusion is the moment your transformation begins. So many people spend their entire lives chasing answers in the outside world. They look to authority figures, to books, to mentors, to achievements, or to material possessions, thinking that if they gather enough knowledge or accumulate enough success, they will finally arrive at peace and fulfillment. But the truth is that no matter how far you travel outward, you will never find the ultimate wisdom that can transform your life. That wisdom does not reside in the opinions of others, nor in the shifting trends of society, nor even in the fleeting rewards of ambition. It lives quietly within you, waiting for you to turn your gaze inward and listen. From the moment we are born, we are shaped by the world around us. Parents, teachers, and society all tell us what we should value, who we should become, and how we should measure success. We are taught to look outward for validation, to seek approval, to conform to expectations, and while this guidance may help us survive and function in the world, it often separates us from our deeper truth. We become strangers to our own inner voice, disconnected from the source of real wisdom. That disconnection is why so many people, even those who appear successful, still feel restless, empty, or unfulfilled. The journey of transformation begins the moment you realize that the answers you seek are not out there but within. It is not about rejecting the outer world, but about remembering that the outer world can only reflect what is already present inside. When you change inwardly, when you awaken to your inner reality, the outer world begins to shift in response. To find wisdom, you must create the courage to sit with yourself, to ask uncomfortable questions, and to listen to the responses that arise from the silence of your own being. But listening within is not easy. The mind is noisy, filled with voices of fear, judgment, and doubt. Many people avoid silence because silence forces them to confront themselves. It is far easier to stay busy, to stay distracted, to keep chasing the next goal, the next purchase, the next thrill. Yet if you never pause, if you never look inward, you will continue to move in circles, mistaking motion for progress. Wisdom grows not in constant activity, but in reflection, in stillness, in the willingness to explore the vast inner landscape that most ignore. Within you exists a deeper intelligence, one that cannot be captured by books or explained fully by logic. It is the quiet knowing that comes when you trust your intuition, when you notice the patterns in your dreams, when you recognize the symbols that appear in your life again and again. This inner wisdom does not shout, it whispers, it does not impose itself, it invites you to pay attention, and the more you honor it, the clearer it becomes. The outer world will always be full of conflicting advice, but your inner world holds a compass that is uniquely yours. To live without listening to it is to wander without direction. Turning inward requires courage because it means facing the parts of yourself you may not want to see. It means encountering your insecurities, your hidden fears, your contradictions, and your unhealed wounds. Yet within these very places lies the gold you are searching for. The wisdom of your life is not found in pretending to be perfect, but in embracing your imperfections as teachers. Each flaw, each struggle, each shadow has something to reveal about who you are and what you are meant to become. By facing yourself honestly, you reclaim the power you once gave away to the outer world. When you begin to trust the wisdom within, your life transforms in ways that no external achievement could ever provide. You become less dependent on the approval of others because you are rooted in a deeper truth. You begin to make choices that align with your authentic self rather than choices driven by fear or conformity. You notice that clarity arises not from frantic searching, but from quiet listening. The outer world no longer controls your inner state, for you carry within you a source of guidance that cannot be shaken by circumstances. This wisdom teaches you that fulfillment is not a place you reach one day in the future, but a way of living in the present. It shows you that the meaning of life is not handed down by others, but discovered in the depths of your own heart. It reminds you that the peace you seek cannot be bought, achieved, or borrowed. It must be cultivated by coming home to yourself. And when you live from this place, even the challenges of life take on new meaning. They are no longer random obstacles, but opportunities to deepen your understanding, to grow stronger, and to uncover more of the truth that is already within you. The greatest transformation you can experience is realizing that you already carry within you everything you need. The world may offer tools, teachers, and experiences to help you, but the final step, the step that changes everything, must be taken by you in your own heart. To look inward is to rediscover the wisdom that has been with you all along. And once you awaken to it, your life will never be the same again. Most people spend their lives trying to show only their best side to the world. They wear masks of confidence, strength, and composure, believing that if they hide their weaknesses and deny their fears, they will be accepted and respected. Yet the parts of yourself that you bury do not disappear. They do not vanish simply because you refuse to acknowledge them. Instead, they retreat into the shadows of your mind, where they wait. The shadow is the part of you that you do not want to see, the part that holds your anger, envy, jealousy, insecurities, and all the traits you were taught were unacceptable. It is easy to think of the shadow as an enemy, as something dark and dangerous that must be suppressed. But in truth, the shadow holds some of the most important keys to your transformation. The reason the shadow has so much power is because you deny it. What you push away grows stronger. What you repress controls you from beneath the surface. Think of the moments when you overreact with anger or feel an unexplained sense of shame, or when you find yourself judging others harshly for qualities that secretly exist within yourself. These are the whispers of the shadow. Left unacknowledged, the shadow finds its way into your relationships, your decisions, and even your dreams. It will make you repeat destructive patterns until you finally learn to face it. To ignore your shadow is to live only half a life, because the parts of yourself you reject still belong to you, and until you embrace them, you cannot be whole. To face your shadow does not mean to indulge in it or to justify harmful behavior. It means to recognize that you are not only light, not only the polished image you show to others. You are a full human being, capable of both greatness and weakness, of both kindness and cruelty, of both love and fear. Accepting this truth is humbling, but it is also liberating. When you admit to yourself that you carry within you all of these contradictions, you no longer have to waste energy pretending to be perfect. You no longer have to live in fear that someone will discover the parts of you that you try so hard to hide. Instead, you stand in the power of authenticity, knowing that your wholeness includes your flaws as well as your strengths. The shadow is not purely negative. Hidden within it are also gifts that you have ignored or suppressed. Many people hide their creativity, their passion, or their sensitivity because they were once told those qualities were not acceptable. A child who was mocked for being too imaginative may grow into an adult who buries their artistic gifts in order to fit in. A person who was shamed for being vulnerable may learn to suppress their emotions, cutting themselves off from their deepest capacity for love. These gifts, too, are part of the shadow. When you explore it, you may find treasures you never knew you had, abilities and strengths that were waiting to be claimed. The journey of facing the shadow requires courage because it asks you to confront the parts of yourself that you fear the most. It may come in the form of admitting that you feel jealousy toward others, or that you carry resentment you never voiced, or that you are not as virtuous as you pretend to be. But by bringing these truths into the light of awareness, you strip them of their power. What once controlled you unconsciously becomes something you can choose to work with consciously. The moment you can say, "Yes, this also belongs to me," you begin to reclaim your power. Instead of being ruled by hidden forces, you become the one who integrates them into a larger whole. Facing the shadow is also an act of compassion. If you can accept your own darkness, you can accept the imperfections of others. You stop demanding that people live up to impossible standards because you know firsthand the weight of carrying flaws. This acceptance does not mean tolerating abuse or excusing harmful actions. Rather, it means recognizing that every person is a mixture of light and shadow. To embrace this truth allows you to love more deeply, to forgive more easily, and to see the humanity that exists even in those who stumble. Transformation begins the moment you stop running from yourself. The shadow does not disappear once you face it. Instead, it becomes integrated into your being. It becomes a source of energy, creativity, and resilience. The anger that once exploded destructively can become fuel for justice. The fear that once paralyzed you can become the caution that keeps you wise. The envy that once tormented you can become a signal of what you secretly desire for your own growth. In this way, the shadow is not a curse but a teacher. It shows you what you need to heal, what you need to claim, and what you need to grow beyond. The greatest tragedy is not that we have shadows, but that so many of us die without ever facing them. We spend our lives polishing the mask while the truth within us waits to be acknowledged. But the mask cannot transform you, only the truth can. And the truth is that you are both light and darkness, both strength and weakness, both beauty and imperfection. When you stop resisting this truth, when you stand in the fullness of who you are, you discover a freedom greater than any you have ever known. So do not fear the shadow. Do not run from it. It is not your enemy, but your guide. It is the door you must walk through if you wish to become whole. And once you step through that door, once you embrace every part of yourself, you will discover a strength that can never be taken away. That is the wisdom that will transform your life. Every person feels, at some point in their life, a quiet pull towards something greater. It might come as a sense of longing that no achievement can satisfy, or as a restlessness that lingers even in moments of success. This is the call of purpose. You may not always recognize it, and often it is drowned out by the noise of daily life, but it is always there, waiting. Purpose is not a luxury for the fortunate. It is the very essence of what it means to be alive. To live without discovering your purpose is to move through life like a traveler without a destination, always walking yet never arriving. The search for purpose does not begin with the outside world. It cannot be given to you by a career, a title, or the approval of others. These things may provide temporary direction, but they cannot satisfy the deeper hunger within you. Purpose is born from the soul, from that part of you that knows who you are beyond your roles and your responsibilities. It emerges when you begin to pay attention to the subtle signals that life gives you, the dreams that stir your imagination, the moments when you feel most alive, the quiet intuition that whispers, "This is the way." Too often, people dismiss these whispers. They tell themselves that dreams are unrealistic, that intuition is untrustworthy, that passion must give way to practicality. They choose the safe path, the expected path, the one that pleases others but leaves their own heart unfulfilled. And yet, the hunger for purpose does not go away. It will return again and again, reminding you that life without meaning is only half lived. No amount of money or recognition can silence the soul's cry for significance. You can bury it, you can ignore it, but eventually it will surface, sometimes as dissatisfaction, sometimes as anxiety, sometimes as the quiet feeling that you are meant for more. Discovering your purpose requires courage, because it often means stepping away from the familiar. It asks you to question the roles you have been assigned, the definitions of success you inherited, and the limits you placed upon yourself. It asks you to trust that the stirrings of your inner world are not random, but guiding you toward a deeper truth. This is why dreams and symbols matter. They are the language of the soul, pointing you toward the direction where your purpose lies. A recurring dream may reveal a desire you have long ignored. A symbol that appears repeatedly in your life may hold meaning for the path you are meant to take. To discover your purpose is to become a student of your own inner world. Purpose is not always grand or dramatic. It does not necessarily mean becoming famous or achieving extraordinary feats. Sometimes purpose is found in creating beauty where others see none, in bringing healing to a single person, in raising a child with love, in speaking truth where silence has prevailed. Purpose is measured not by scale, but by authenticity. It is not about what looks impressive on the outside, but about what resonates deeply on the inside. The moment you are aligned with your true purpose, you will know, because you will feel a sense of harmony that nothing else can give. Living without purpose drains the soul. Days blur into weeks, weeks into years, and life begins to feel like a series of empty routines. But when you live with purpose, even the smallest actions gain meaning. Work becomes more than survival, it becomes service. Relationships become more than convenience. They become connections of the heart. Struggles become more than obstacles. They become lessons guiding you closer to who you are meant to be. Purpose transforms not only your destination, but the entire journey. One of the great illusions of life is the belief that purpose will appear suddenly, fully formed, like a revelation. In reality, purpose is discovered gradually, step by step, through attention and reflection. It is revealed as you follow what stirs your soul, as you notice the moments when time seems to disappear, as you honor the activities and connections that give you energy rather than drain it. Each small step brings you closer to clarity, and eventually the pieces come together to reveal the larger picture. It is less like solving a puzzle and more like remembering something you always knew but had forgotten. Obstacles will appear on this path, and they will test your commitment. Doubt will whisper that you are wasting your time. Fear will try to convince you to return to what is safe and familiar. The opinions of others may weigh heavily as they question your choices or dismiss your vision. But this is the test of purpose, whether you are willing to remain true to your inner calling even when the outer world does not yet understand. The deeper the purpose, the greater the resistance you may face. Yet the very act of persisting strengthens your connection to the truth within you. The reward of discovering your purpose is not just personal fulfillment. When you live authentically, aligned with what you were meant to do, you naturally inspire others to seek their own path. Your courage becomes a light for those who are still lost in the dark. Your actions ripple outward, touching lives in ways you may never fully see. This is the beauty of purpose. It begins within you, but its impact extends far beyond you. So listen to the whispers of your soul. Do not dismiss the dreams that return to you night after night, the passions that ignite your spirit, the quiet voice that tells you there is more. These are not accidents, they are invitations. They are guiding you toward the life you were meant to live. And once you discover that purpose and choose to live by it, your life will no longer feel like a series of disconnected moments. It will become a journey of meaning, a story of transformation, a testament to the wisdom that has been guiding you all along. So many people live under the heavy burden of perfection. They are taught from an early age that to be worthy, they must live without mistakes, without flaws, without weakness. The world tells them to polish every detail of their lives until it shines, to hide every crack so that no one will see their humanity. But the pursuit of perfection is a prison. It traps you in a constant battle against yourself, a battle you can never win, because perfection does not exist. The human being was never meant to be flawless. The true path is not perfection, but wholeness. Wholeness means embracing all that you are, the light and the darkness, the strengths and the weaknesses, the beauty and the brokenness. It is the courage to say, I am complete even with my imperfections. This is not an excuse to stop growing, but an invitation to grow honestly. Growth does not come from denying your flaws or pretending they do not exist. Growth comes from facing them, learning from them, and integrating them into a larger, richer self. The one who accepts their limitations is far stronger than the one who hides them behind a mask of false perfection. When you chase perfection, you live in fear. Fear of being exposed, fear of failing, fear of never being enough. This fear steals your joy, because no matter what you achieve, you will always find something missing. Perfection demands more, always more, and leaves you feeling hollow. But when you pursue wholeness, you begin to live in truth. You stop fighting yourself, and instead you begin to listen. You understand that even your flaws have wisdom to offer, that even your mistakes can lead you to greater understanding. Wholeness is not about erasing your wounds, but about weaving them into the fabric of your life until they become part of your strength. Consider a vessel that has been cracked and then repaired with gold. Its cracks are no longer hidden, they are illuminated. They tell the story of its breaking and its healing. In the same way, your imperfections are not blemishes to erase, but marks of your humanity, reminders of your resilience, evidence that you have lived. Wholeness comes when you no longer see your scars as shameful, but as sacred. The crack in you is the place where life entered, the place where transformation began. Perfection divides you into pieces, creating an endless war within yourself. You try to silence the parts of you that feel weak, to exile the emotions you believe are unacceptable, to suppress the thoughts that do not match the image you want to project. But wholeness calls you to bring these pieces home, to acknowledge them, to understand them, to give them a place at the table of your being, for only when all of you is welcomed can you finally rest. Peace is not the absence of imperfection, it is the presence of acceptance. When you embrace wholeness, you also begin to relate differently to others. You no longer demand that they be perfect, because you no longer demand it of yourself. You understand that every human being is a mixture of contradictions, carrying both beauty and brokenness. This understanding opens the door to compassion. You stop judging so quickly because you know how it feels to wrestle with your own shadow. You stop withdrawing your love when others fail because you recognize that failure is part of being human. Wholeness in yourself makes it possible to love others more fully, because love does not thrive in perfection. It thrives in truth. The world does not need perfect people. It needs whole people. It needs men and women who have faced themselves honestly, who have walked through their own darkness and discovered the light that shines within. Whole people inspire others not by pretending to be flawless, but by showing the strength that comes from authenticity. When you live in wholeness, you give others permission to do the same. Your courage to be real becomes a mirror that reflects their own possibility of acceptance. The journey toward wholeness is not easy. It requires humility, because you must admit that you are not who you pretended to be. It requires patience, because wholeness is not achieved in a single moment but over a lifetime. And it requires faith, because you must believe that even the darkest parts of you have value, even the most painful moments can serve a purpose. But as you walk this path, you will discover that every step toward wholeness is a step toward freedom. Freedom from shame, freedom from fear, freedom from the endless chase for approval. To live in wholeness is to finally come home to yourself. It is to see your reflection not as something to be corrected, but as something to be embraced. It is to recognize that your worth is not dependent on being flawless, but on being authentic. The most beautiful people are not those who appear perfect, but those who are whole, those who have lived through struggle, embraced their contradictions, and chosen to walk in truth. So stop striving for the impossible illusion of perfection. Instead, turn inward and gather the pieces of yourself you have long abandoned. Invite them back, and discover the strength that comes not from being flawless, but from being whole. For in wholeness lies the wisdom that transforms your life, and the peace that no mask of perfection could ever bring. Life will never unfold without struggle. To live is to encounter obstacles, to face pain, and to walk through seasons of difficulty that test everything you thought you knew about yourself. Many people resist these moments, wishing them away, longing for a life without hardship. Yet the truth is that it is precisely through challenges that we grow. The moments that break you open are the same moments that reveal who you truly are. Without challenge, there is no depth. Without struggle, there is no strength. Without suffering, there is no awakening. It is easy to celebrate the joyful times, to welcome the days when everything flows smoothly. But those times do not shape you. Comfort is pleasant, but it does not transform. It is the storm that reshapes the landscape. It is the fire that forges the steel. In the same way, it is life's difficulties that carve out the space for your soul to expand. When you face a challenge, you stand at a threshold. You can choose to resist it, to deny it, to allow it to harden your heart, or you can choose to walk through it with courage, trusting that it has something to teach you. Pain has a way of stripping away illusions. When life shatters your plans, you are forced to see what is real. You learn that you are not in control of everything, and in that humility, you discover resilience. When relationships break apart, you are given the chance to see yourself more clearly, to recognize patterns you once ignored, to grow into a stronger, more authentic self. When failure knocks you down, you are invited to rise again, not with the fragile confidence of someone who has never fallen, but with the unshakable strength of one who knows they can survive. Every challenge carries within it a seed of growth. At first, all you see is the pain. You see the loss, the struggle, the uncertainty. But if you stay with it, if you refuse to turn away, that seed begins to sprout. You begin to notice qualities within yourself that you never knew were there, patience you did not realize you possessed, courage you did not believe you had, wisdom born from wounds you once cursed. In this way, life's challenges are not punishments but invitations. They invite you to step into a larger version of yourself, to shed the layers of illusion, to become more whole. The most meaningful growth often emerges from the darkest seasons. Think of the times when you were brought to your knees, when you felt lost, when the path ahead seemed unclear. Looking back, you can often see that those were the very moments that changed you the most. They humbled you, they deepened your empathy, they sharpened your vision. They forced you to dig deep into the hidden reservoirs of strength that lay dormant within you. Without those challenges, you would still be asleep to your true potential. It is suffering that awakens, that breaks open the hard shell of the ego so the light of the soul can shine through. But growth through challenge is not automatic. Pain alone does not transform. Many people experience hardship and become bitter, resentful, or closed off. The difference lies in how you respond. If you resist the lesson, the challenge will crush you. If you embrace it, the challenge will shape you. The question is not whether you will suffer, because suffering is part of the human experience, but whether you will allow that suffering to make you smaller or greater. The choice is yours. One of the paradoxes of life is that what feels like breaking is often the beginning of building. A seed must crack open before it can grow. A bone must reset before it can heal stronger. A heart must break before it can expand in compassion. So too, your soul must be stretched by difficulty in order to awaken to its deeper truth. If you only seek safety and ease, you will remain small. But if you embrace challenge as a teacher, you will discover a depth of character, a richness of spirit that cannot be learned in any other way. Growth through challenge also connects you to others. When you suffer, you begin to recognize the suffering of those around you. You stop judging so quickly because you know what it feels like to carry invisible battles. You learn to listen more deeply, to offer compassion rather than criticism, to extend a hand to those who are struggling. The wisdom you gain from your own challenges becomes a gift you can give to others, a reminder that they too can endure, that they too can rise. Do not wish for a life without challenges. Such a life would leave you untested, shallow, and unawakened. Instead, wish for the courage to face whatever comes. Wish for the strength to endure, the humility to learn, and the wisdom to grow. Each challenge is shaping you into the person you were meant to become. Even if you cannot see it now, One day you will look back and understand that the very moments you thought would destroy you were the ones that transformed you the most. So when life confronts you with hardship, do not run. Do not hide. Stand firm and ask, what is this here to teach me? How can I grow from this? What strength is waiting to be discovered in me? In that moment of surrender, the challenge becomes not your enemy, but your guide. It will break you open, yes, but only so that you can be rebuilt into someone wiser, stronger, and more whole. For growth through challenge is not just survival. It is the path to transformation, the doorway to the wisdom that will change your life forever. There comes a moment in life when you must ask yourself a simple but terrifying question. Am I truly living as myself, or am I living as a mask? So many people spend their days playing roles, performing for the expectations of others, trying to become what society tells them they should be. They dress their personality in borrowed clothes, hoping that if they look the part, they will be loved, respected, and safe. But the cost of wearing a mask is heavy. Each time you betray your own truth for the sake of pleasing others, a piece of you begins to fade. Authenticity is the only path that leads to true transformation, because until you dare to be yourself, you are not really alive, you are only acting. Authenticity does not mean shouting your opinions or rebelling against everything around you. It means listening inwardly and aligning your outer life with your inner truth. It means allowing your words, your choices, and your actions to arise from who you really are, not from who you think you should be. This is not easy. The world rewards conformity. It applauds those who fit into boxes, who follow the rules without question, who keep their true thoughts and feelings hidden beneath the surface. To be authentic requires courage because it means stepping outside the comfort of approval and risking rejection. Yet the moment you choose authenticity over illusion, you open the door to freedom. When you live inauthentically, your soul begins to wither. You may achieve success, but it feels hollow. You may be surrounded by people, but you feel lonely because no one truly knows you. You may look confident, but inside, you carry the gnawing sense that something is missing. This emptiness is the price of betraying yourself. Transformation cannot occur in this state because you cannot grow into the fullness of who you are while pretending to be someone else. To change your life, you must first return to your own truth. The path of authenticity begins with self-honesty. You must be willing to admit what you feel, what you desire, what you fear, and what you believe, even if those truths do not match the expectations of others. This honesty may reveal that the career you chose is not the one that fulfills you, or that the relationship you cling to no longer reflects who you are becoming, or that the values you were taught no longer align with your soul. Facing these truths is painful, but it is also liberating because the truth sets you free from the prison of pretending. Authenticity transforms because it brings your life into harmony. When your inner self and your outer actions match, you experience a deep sense of peace. The anxiety of living a double life disappears because you no longer have to remember which mask you are wearing. The energy once spent on pretending becomes energy you can use for creating, loving, and growing. You stop seeking validation outside yourself because you are rooted in the unshakable foundation of your own being. You may not please everyone, but you will no longer feel divided against yourself. To live authentically is not only a gift to yourself but to the world. People are drawn to those who are real because authenticity carries a power that cannot be faked. It is not about perfection, but about presence. When you speak from your truth, others feel it. When you live in alignment with your inner values, you inspire others to do the same. Your authenticity becomes a light, showing those around you that they too can remove their masks and step into the freedom of being themselves. In this way, your personal transformation ripples outward, touching lives beyond your own. Of course, authenticity does not shield you from difficulty. In fact, it may bring new challenges. Not everyone will understand your choices. Some will resist your change because it disrupts the comfort of their expectations. You may lose relationships that were built on the false version of you. But what you lose in approval, you gain in integrity. And what you gain in integrity is worth more than any amount of false acceptance. It is better to be rejected for who you truly are than to be loved for who you are not. The greatest tragedy is to reach the end of your life and realize you never truly lived it as yourself. To have spent your days hiding, conforming, and pretending is to die without ever having been known, not even by yourself. But if you live authentically, you will leave this world having given it something only you could give: your true presence, your real voice, your unique expression. That is a legacy no mask could ever create. Authenticity is not a destination you reach once and for all. It is a practice, a daily choice. Every day, life will present you with opportunities to betray yourself or to honor yourself. Every day, you must decide whether you will live from fear or from truth. And each time you choose truth, you grow stronger, freer, more alive. Transformation is not a sudden miracle. It is the gradual unfolding of authenticity, the steady unveiling of who you really are. So I ask you, are you willing to put down the mask? Are you willing to risk disapproval for the sake of your soul? Are you willing to let go of the illusion in order to embrace reality? The moment you answer yes, the moment you decide that your truth matters more than the world's approval, that is the moment your transformation begins. For authenticity is not just about being yourself. It is about becoming whole, becoming alive, becoming free. It is the wisdom that will change not only your life, but the lives of everyone you touch.